tenemos conocimiento
We know we're coming in as the underdogs, so we're definitely going to try and pull everything we can. I think we have to basically try to surprise the other teams, and we're not sure if they've had the chance to study how we play, but we do have plenty of chances to have studied how they played, and we've studied a lot. I think I like the most when we discuss how to approach Battleground, because when we do that, we discover ways of approaching it that we wouldn't have discovered otherwise. That makes us a strong team. We don't feel particularly pressured by being here, but we do feel the responsibility of representing our region, and we're going to do our best for that.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. We are going into our next match coming up here. It's a bit of a David versus Goliath match, Artosis.
Yes, it certainly is. I mean, you know, Furious Gaming, they are a team we don't really know a whole lot about, and they're going up against a team that definitely could make it to BlizzCon here in compLexity.
compLexity is an absolutely fantastic team. It's a team that's actually been around for a long time in several different titles, so it's really cool to see them doing well here. Do you think there's any chance that compLexity loses here?
It's going to be tough because compLexity, they look better than ever lately. The results are always in the top 4 at NA, and they've taken games off teams like Tempo Storm, Cloud9. They've taken matches off them. They're the only other team that can really say they can do that. So with Furious Gaming coming in, they're definitely the wild card. I want to see what they can pull off. Maybe if they do some really unique drafts, it's going to throw compLexity off. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough. You know, one thing to keep in mind as well is no matter how good you are as a team, you're also under an incredible amount of pressure when you're playing at a live event like this. I mean, there's really nothing else quite like it.
And you know what? I think that even here for compLexity, who of course are a bit more experienced, do have, you know, a greater track record of winning in tournaments. It's not going to be like too easy, because Furious was saying, you know, they don't really feel all that much pressure. They actually feel like they, you know, they're here to do their best to try to represent their region, and I think that without that extra pressure, they can actually put out a pretty strong game.
This is one thing that makes this event just so exciting, is that this is, even though this is the Americas, mostly it's titled the Americas, but it's actually pretty international. We're getting to see players from regions of the world you would just never really expect.
Yeah, I mean, actually just seeing Relics in that last matchup, they showed us some really great games, and their ability to adapt in that matchup was rather impressive. So the Latin American community, there's not a lot of events, not a lot of broadcasts we're privileged to watch, so they could really surprise us in this matchup.
It's really exciting because in Latin America, esports is growing at just such a quick rate. And you know, it's, you know, for you and I especially, we used to play Brood War together. There were always fantastic players from there. They just never had as big of a scene or a spectator scene overall, but that's changing very quickly.
Absolutely, there's a lot of people down there, a lot of great gamers, and you know, this is definitely one of their best teams. So I'm looking forward to seeing like what type of play they put out here, because I've never actually seen Furious Gaming play.
Putting together an event like this is a massive endeavor, and our esports group does its best to assist with getting our teams to these tournaments whenever possible. But on occasion, there are circumstances beyond our control that prohibit players from traveling.
Yeah, all of the teams competing this weekend at the Heroes of the Storm Americas Championship fought hard to get here. So we were very disappointed to hear that Brave Ozone will not be able to make the trip due to visa issues.
Brave Ozone is a great team, and we hope to see them continue to have a strong showing in future events.
So that means Furious Gaming from Argentina will be taking their bracket spot, and you know, that's the team that we're talking about here. And since they didn't win, that's why we're kind of looking at it and saying, okay, we don't know exactly how well they'll do, but they will be replacing Brave Ozone.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they're here. It's a bit of a dark horse matchup, you know, to put it in one way. It's a team that we just don't know a ton about, which is exciting, because sometimes we have these guys that come out of nowhere and they do dominate. Now let's talk about compLexity for a little bit, the team that we do know a lot about. What should we expect from these guys in their play style?
Yeah, well, compLexity, I mean, they like the aggressive style. I've heard they're working on some new heroes, some melee assassins we don't hear so much, but they're also a big fan of Rexar, the newest hero. So as soon as you throw a new hero into the mix-up, we haven't seen a lot of him today, that really starts to shake things up. New heroes become viable, and Rexar is a very complex, unique hero. It's kind of like the Tyrande of Warriors, and I'm just anxious to see what they have in store for us.
Well, let's throw it to the main stage and see how Anna and Shobra are doing.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I am ready for some more heroes. And it's my pleasure to welcome, or should I say, say bienvenidos to our new team, the blue team. It is Furious Gaming from Argentina.
Their opponents, this band of brothers, have you seen them? Because they are super confident, and I assure you, definitely not a simple-minded team. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome compLexity. All right, we got to check out how compLexity was, man. Not just through the interview, but we also got to just stand next to them, and they are pumped to start this match.
There is so much confidence they were embracing backstage, but there's a wild card in Furious Gaming in that we don't know too much about how confident they're feeling. I'm excited to watch and learn how confident they are feeling. We asked them a little bit about this match as well as compLexity in this next video.
Creemos que contra compLexity.
In our first play against compLexity, we feel we have good chances.
Going into this first match against Furious Gaming, we're not really worried or concerned.
We're not really familiar with how Furious Gaming plays, but we think that we're ready for anything.
We think that their strong point is their rotations.
Like, we are very confident mechanically.
We want to make sure we can get ahead of that.
They're going to have to put something new in the mix if they want to beat us.
We feel we can play with strategies that are not orthodox or unexpected.
I think in order for them to win, they're going to really need to like throw out a curveball.
They're going to try to play something that's completely out of the ordinary that we wouldn't expect. We've already taken that into consideration, so I don't think it's going to be an issue.
We already have a couple of strategies, but we're going to wait until we actually are playing on stage to reveal our strategy to people.
We have 100% confidence in facing anyone this weekend.
We have a few things in store for them.
No matter what they do, we should have the advantage.
You know, winning is everything. That's what we're here to do, so that's what we're going to do.
Interesting. They said they got a lot of stuff in store for us that's going to be unexpected.
I also thought it was pretty cool that compLexity said they have complete confidence against any team here this weekend.
I mean, compLexity is such a strong team. Can you really blame them for being this confident?
You certainly cannot. They're more than capable of beating anyone in this event, and they are very deserving of that spot at BlizzCon. Here, they have to earn it. Only 2 teams can advance.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty insane upset if we do see them get taken out here. If compLexity does go down, that would basically change the entire makeup of the tournament and the way we're going to view the brackets, because I think well, all of us up here, but most of the people watching probably have a pretty strong opinion of who's going to win most of the early rounds here in the tournament.
Well, I'm wondering what type of strategy, Jake, do you think that Furious Gaming can pull out here that would really catch compLexity off guard? Because they said that they prepared for all sorts of different weird things that may be thrown at them.
Well, we're going to Sky Temple for the first game, and you say weird things. This is a battleground where Gazlo is actually quite viable. Problem being, compLexity is the team that's shown that off in the past. So if they're going to try to bust out something weird here, we might actually have a composition where both teams are fighting over Gazlo, maybe even Murky, who knows. But you're going to have to do something like that here on Sky Temple to catch compLexity off guard.
And speaking of Sky Temple, I think this is one of the better maps here in Heroes of the Storm. Artosis, tell us a little bit about this map and how it functions.
Well, Sky Temple, you know, they do have those 3 shrines throughout the map that periodically pop up, and if you stand on them for long enough, they start shooting lasers at your opponent's buildings. It's pretty sick. It does a lot of damage. So you're going to see a lot of scuffles around those temples as they try to fight to get them, because eventually you can just win the game without ever attacking your opponent's core directly.
Let's take a look at the profile for Furious Gaming. Again, these guys, they're so brand new, which is very exciting. You know, esports, I think for a lot of people it seems like a new thing, but it's actually been around for a long time in multiple, different gaming titles. So to have, a team like compLexity that's got such a rich history, it's going to be cool to see this new team, Furious Gaming, and see what they got. As you can see, 23 wins, 21 losses.
Yeah, I mean, Furious Gaming showing off that they've had some pretty solid results, but on the other side, we, of course, have compLexity. And compLexity, You know, they've put up some good results themselves. 35 and 16 when it comes to the win-loss ratio. Look at how handsome those guys are. I mean, seriously, they're a good-looking group of guys with a diverse history when it comes to gaming.
Look, I just want to see Trummel videos. That's what I'm here for this weekend. That guy is a hoot and a holler, man.
You know, one thing when you're on a big team like this, it's so important to be able to communicate, keep your cool, not be toxic. Anyways, we're almost ready for the draft, but as always, we want you to be part of the conversation by going to @esportsheroes and using the hashtag HeroesWC to vote for your favorite team and tell us your predictions. We would also like to thank our sponsors, Gigabyte, NVIDIA, and Totino's Pizza Rolls for their support in bringing you the Heroes of the Storm America's Championship.
But on that note, I think we're ready to roll for the draft here. The first game of this matchup, let's hop into it with compLexity versus Furious Gaming.
All right, I'm really excited to see here an Abathur banned immediately here by compLexity.
You know, Abathur can be quite strong on a lot of these maps, especially when you're in the open. If you lose one hero that has the Abathur hat, at least the Abathur hat can then jump onto the next hero in that fight.
Right, and this is arguably by far the best battleground for Abathur. When you consider the split soak that exists when you're fighting over one of those temples on the top of the map and the power of Mule. This is the battleground in which we see Mule used the most because it can mitigate a lot of the damage done by those temples.
Well, Uther is banned out by Furious Gaming. Of course, we've seen Uther just direct the course of battles throughout the day already, so not a big surprise. And then Zeratul, the first pick for compLexity. Doesn't seem like anything too new here, huh, Jake?
Pretty standard stuff. I mean, if Uther's banned, you're probably going to go for that first pick, Zeratul, because of how powerful he is. Void Prison alone, if he had no other abilities but Void Prison, I'd probably still play him.
Well said.
Yeah, he is such a fantastic hero here. And now we're seeing a Johanna pick. Now, Johanna, obviously a very strong warrior, able to get in there and not just, soak up damage from the opposing team, but also with Condemn, you can be chasing another, opponent and actually pull them in and then deal a ton of damage to them.
And she has a lot of cool setups. Like, if Furious Gaming, they want to get aggressive here, you put Johanna Kerrigan, the Condemn plus the Ravage and Pale, that is such a strong powerhouse. But the Blizzard and Kona Cold on Jaina, also a very big synergy that exists with those two heroes.
Oh, certainly the case. Definitely can land a lot more of those when Condemn is going down. Johanna great at blinding Zeratul as well. Let's not forget about that. Can really help to negate some of that damage. But compLexity going to go ahead and take Leoric, one of the top picks in the game.
Yeah, Leoric is such a strong warrior. And then, of course, paired with Arthas. Arthas very good with so many different, slow abilities there to really limit the mobility from the opposing team and obviously able to just, absorb a lot of damage.
Yeah, the Lich King Skeleton King combo is becoming quite popular. Double Bruiser in the front line, but they don't have the traditional stun. So this is a situation where sometimes we see Sonya picked up. They're going to ban out Tyrande here. I like that call. Tyrande is very strong. But Furious Gaming, if they've been practicing Sonya, would be a very strong pickup here.
Oh, we'll have to see if they go for that. They do ban Kael'thas themselves, so taking out one of those ranged assassins, we'll have to see if compLexity gets their hands on Vala, perhaps, is another one that's very popular here. But we'll see in just a moment as Furious Gaming gets the next two picks.
Still some deliberation going on here about what exactly the hero is going to be, and it's going to be a Rhaegar pick.
It's a very early support pickup based on what they have so far because they don't really need to lock that in. That's just, to me, that's saying that's a comfort pickup. They want to make sure they have the Ancestral Heal, and they go for Sonya as well. Such a powerful hero in these situations when the enemy team has no stun so far.
Sometimes when we see someone pick up the support very early like this, they're trying to hide what that last pick is to try to, maybe use that as a counter pick to their opponents or maybe bring out something that would be easily countered that their opponents now haven't seen.
And that's something very important for us to highlight to you guys watching here is it's not just what heroes they're picking, but it's the order in which they're picking it, right? If you see someone pick one hero, you can say, wait a minute, now, what is the role here that this hero is going to play possibly in a team? And that's why you see a lot of surprises and curveballs there later on. And of course, also, whenever you pick a hero for your team, you're also denying the opposing team the ability to get that hero as well.
Yeah, great points, but they're going to go for Malfurion, and this is just super smart. It's going to be so hard for Furious Gaming to eliminate the heroes. Double Warrior in the front line. They have a lot of sustain themselves with Tranquility, and we're seeing Raynor picked up here. Ooh. He has not seen a lot of action today.
No, he certainly has not, but this guy is a pretty fantastic ranged assassin, had some big buffs recently, and does a lot of auto attack damage.
Yeah, it's very cool to see Raynor used here. I'm sure anybody who's played the game was using him in the tutorial, but you don't see him as much, especially if you play on higher ranked online matches. He's just not, one of the first picks, but he's been getting a little bit more popular lately, and it's interesting to see how people are going to build this Raynor, for instance, since, for the majority of Heroes of the Storm, Raynor was generally regarded as a weaker hero.
Yeah, but MVP Black over in Korea, they're really showing us why he's so good. He takes a lot of micro because if you miss that skill shot, it's devastating for your damage output, but the give me more style, the super sustain style we're starting to see out of Raynors, he's so hard to eliminate in battle, and Tyrael will be that final pickup.
All right, really cool to see Tyrael picked up here. One of those tanks that you don't want to have alone. A really great warrior as well. Watch for his judgment, his level 10 heroic ability where he can jump onto someone on the other team, stun them, and push everyone else away. It's a fantastic ability.
So this is actually akin to a very old school style that we used to see in competitive Heroes of the Storm called the Eraser composition, where you run with Sonya and Tyrael and you find one assassin in the backline and you just dive on them. Heroically plus judgment, and then Jaina in the backline. You are not going to survive that damage, especially considering that they have Tranquility. They don't have the Ancestral Heal. They don't have the Divine Shield. So this could be a cool throwback composition.
What do you think? What are the chances here with this team comp in this matchup?
You know what? When I see the first few picks of compLexity, I start to go towards them. But I really like what Furious Gaming has done here. I love the triple warrior type of composition here with the Rhaegar. I think that they have a chance.
What do you think, Jake?
Furious Gaming, they've got a cool composition, but this is not something new to compLexity. They've played against this style in the past. They're actually one of the teams that was quite strong with it. So they're going to know how to not be split up, how to respond to these situations. In the late game, they do have the sustain to get out of those kind of scenarios. And we're not even certain that's how they're going to approach it because it is a triple warrior composition. The follow-up with Johanna isn't quite as strong, but Blessed Shield, maybe the lockdown will steal the deal. It's going to be tough to see, but very fun to watch.
All right, guys, let's make some noise. We are ready now for game number 1, Furious Gaming against compLexity.
All right, here we go, guys. Over on the left-hand side of the map in the blue, it is Furious Gaming with Kobu on Rhaegar, Anaxandros on Johanna, Nittt on Sonya, Guelo on Jaina, and Bishop on Tyrael. And their opponents on the right side of the map in the red, compLexity with Jaximus on Zeratul, Hans on Leoric, Caterpillar on Arthas, Trummel on Raynor, and Blinks on Malfurion.
So this game has now started. compLexity right now occupying mostly the what looks like the northern side of the map, but now rotating down. We do have what appears to be a bush party over here in the lower center for Furious Gaming, hoping to maybe have one stray hero enter into that area and they can jump on and engage.
Well, right now we do have Sonya going ahead with her Ancient Spear, getting in there. They're going to clear this very, very quickly, but all 5 in the middle here for Furious Gaming. So no one up top or down bottom to help clear those lanes and soak experience.
So for the time being, it should be, unless somebody makes a major mistake, it should be a pretty clean game for starts. There's going to be a lot of soaking of experience, just trying to get all the different abilities that you can. But you got to be careful because these guys, they said they had a lot of tricks up their sleeve. Furious Gaming did. Maybe they're going to have something pretty exciting early on.
Yeah, maybe they will. We'll see about that. They've got a lot of health to work with, a good amount of damage and mobility as well. So we'll see. They're going to go ahead and capture that watchtower and continue to rotate around, looking if they can get any pickoffs.
And now the temples are about to activate in about 10 seconds. Now, typically, we have a takedown already. They're beautifully done. Sonya goes down. Temple's about to activate. Typically, we have one team take one temple, the other team take the other, but you got to be careful. You lose 1 or 2 heroes early on, and then you can end up losing both those temples.
Yeah, and if you do that, you're going to be levels behind and possibly lose the next temple, and then it can start to spiral out of your control. So we'll see if these guys fight heavily over one temple or split these up.
And as you can see now, still a little bit of soaking down here in the lanes. You do have to take out those neutral minions there that do spawn around the temple. That always gives a little bit of a defender's disadvantage, if you will, down in that area. If you're trying to fight off these statues that come to life, and then another team or even one player just comes in and does some damage to you.
Well, right now we do have compLexity coming up, attacking this top shrine a little bit. Great micro here by Trummel and Raynor. We do have Zeratul blinking out, but lots of damage being put down. Really utilizing Raynor's high damage and range.
Yeah, and that's one great thing about Raynor is because he can poke in and still take a decent amount of damage while trying to get away. It's definitely great for something like that. It looks like now the top shrine over here for Furious Gaming is being occupied, but now compLexity does manage to drive them back.
Well, that's really good for them. You know, they did take a lot of the bottom as well. So right now we see compLexity taking a level advantage already very early into this game.
Yeah, and that's pretty huge. Level 4 to level 6, although just now getting to level 5, but still a pretty big deal when you're this early on into the game. We'll see if they can start to balance this out. You really want to watch for that level 10 when their heroic abilities kick in.
That's right. Level 10 is really where things start to change. If someone gets level 10, you cannot fight against them. So let's see if they can get to that level 10 possibly before the next shrine.
All right, we have a mercenary camp being taken down here. The Bruisers, these guys great for pushing lanes. And this is going to be what looks like to be the first takedown here for a camp in the game. But also at the bottom right, I believe we also have some action down there as well at the camp.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go ahead and take their Siege Giants right away. This is becoming pretty popular within the professional hero scene. Get that right off the bat after those first towers. But in the meantime, Furious Gaming taking those top bruiser camps, it's going to give them a strong push. But those will be taken. Oh, they're saving it for the next shrine. Beautiful move.
Okay, so let's explain this for just a second. Why would you not want to take that right away? You'd want to push the lane very quickly, right? No, you wait until the exact moment when the shrine should be spawning. Because this is in the top and the next shrine that spawns is in the bottom, it makes it difficult for the other team, right? They have to defend at the top, but meanwhile try to prevent you from doing anything there at the bottom of the map.
Well, right now we do see down at the bottom compLexity really pushing hard here with these Siege Giants, getting one of the towers down the gate as well. We do have Furious Gaming coming down, but Sonya looks like she is going to fall.
Yeah, nice takedown there on Sonya. Meanwhile, up here, it looks like it's going to be up to Raynor to try to push back this attack up here at the north. And that was, again, a very good job there by Furious Gaming. I like the strategy. I guess the question we got to ask ourselves is how will the rest of their execution be in this series?
All right, well, it looks like the bottom temple is going to be activated pretty soon, about 10 seconds till it goes online. Already compLexity has Leoric down bottom, clearing these waves, getting ready to take it.
compLexity now moving in. Note they're almost level 10, so it's really, there's not much time left for Furious Gaming to try to do much over here until they're really unable to engage entirely and have to play full-on defense.
Well, right now we do have Furious Gaming going down, taking this temple for the time being. Raynor still isn't down for compLexity, so they are waiting a little bit. Starting to walk forward now with Arthas and the Skeleton King. Nice Blizzard comes down.
As you can see now, Leoric going ghost right through here, and it looks like Jaina's going to be in a lot of trouble. Jaina trying to get away. Jaina does go down. Johanna moving in here, but again, a very low HP Johanna as the fight continues right now. compLexity controlling the bottom tower.
Oh, God. Rhaegar gets taken down. In the meantime, Leoric down on this temple, soaking up those shots, and compLexity so close to level 10.
Also note the bottom lane, the fort has almost been destroyed here, which is pretty scary. Obviously, when that fort is destroyed, you are spawning stronger waves in that direction, which makes it more of a handful for the opposing team. And there we go. The fort does go down now, and that's going to allow these other areas of the map, such as mid lane and top lane, to be focused on there by compLexity. And as I finish that, another hero takedown. Ooh, Johanna being beaten down. This is getting very tough for Furious Gaming because level 8 to level 11, there's a lot of time when Furious Gaming just is not going to be able to engage compLexity without being at a fundamental disadvantage.
That's right. They really need that heroic ability to be able to fight on par with compLexity. They just don't have it yet. So compLexity just running the map, getting all their camps, pushing forward, taking these battles.
Whoa!
And they're really not worried. Oh, look at
Nicely done here by Raynor. It was funny, I was looking at that and I was thinking, I wonder if, she can actually go out that far. I think Raynor's gunfire is pretty far, but yeah, nicely done. Raynor does get the shot down there, and that is another takedown there for compLexity.
All right, well, right now, Furious Gaming kind of poking into the center now, still fighting quite a bit against their opponents. They got to be careful about this, though. They are still not level 10, and compLexity has rotated to the top in a strong way.
Yeah, this is a very strong wave up here at the north, and I like that they have Leoric down here at the bottom, just keeping this lane shoved in. The turrets obviously don't have infinite ammunition, so when you push a lane in enough, it depletes the bullets from that turret, which allows you later on to then engage that much more effectively.
Well, right now we do see Arthas going to go ahead, clear out this siege camp. They're just kind of rotating around still, clearing out their lanes. We do have level 10 for Furious Gaming, so definitely something that compLexity has to look out for.
We see Leoric now ghosting out. A full-on engagement by Furious Gaming is at level 10. Void Prism right there, locking in that, and this is going to allow compLexity to then re-engage.
And it looks like right now we do have March of the Black King going through everyone. In the meantime, Sonya way on the other side does get taken out there by Arthas. Raynor throwing down his Hyperion, going after the back line right now of Furious Gaming.
Jaina getting very low. Jaina goes down. Meanwhile, rooting there. Johanna being eliminated now. And it's now just one hero remaining, Tyrael, as the mid lane Ford goes down.
Oh man, absolutely crazy compLexity. Just gonna rotate down here now, take out this boss, and by the way, is huge.
That's a really early boss to take down there. But hey, I mean, when you take out 4 players, there's really no way they can contest this.
Well, you know, they have to clear out that boss now. We do have most of Furious Gaming up top trying to take the top shrine, but if they take that, they're going to be in trouble. They have to send down some heroes to deal with this boss.
You know, one really good way to just explain this, because we see this a lot in Heroes of the Storm, is if you cause a problem in one place, they can't prevent a problem happening somewhere else. So we see the shrine is there being taken, but who cares? If the boss pushes through there, they're going to end up losing their core.
Yeah, well, right now we do see a little bit of a scuffle up near the top part of the map. That boss is still pushing on the bottom, so compLexity wants to fight up here. They want to keep them busy so the boss does as much damage as possible, and it's working like a charm.
It's working very effectively. compLexity just keeping Furious Gaming busy. compLexity right now just backing up. It's okay to not have that shrine as long as that lane's still being pushed, and a nice Void Prism right there. This is going to allow them to set up their abilities, combo it, and take out the team.
That's right. We do see Johanna going ahead and falling down. Rhaegar goes down as well. Right now we have Tyrael and Sonya trying to get there, but this bottom keep, it's being taken out by the boss, by some Sea Giants as well. In the meantime, oh, even Jaina falls.
Beautiful play there. And now the top tower's being taken. Not just boss, but 2 Siege Giants pushing into the bottom lane. Literally almost no infrastructure remaining right now for Furious Gaming. Level 11 to level 15. This game is going to be a landslide win right now for compLexity.
It really is looking that way. compLexity being up 2 talent tiers, the 13 talent and the 16 talent, makes it nearly impossible for Furious Gaming to fight them. They are going to have to do some smooth rotations around the map and gain some experience, or they're not going to have a chance.
And now we see the Hyperion just pushing in here into this top lane. The problem right now is that when you've lost this many structures, you've also lost a lot of vision on the map. So there's not very many ways that you can come out and try to surprise your opponent. In fact, oftentimes you're just at risk of being ambushed if you do try to leave. And we now even see compLexity capturing the Bruiser fan here. That is in the territory of Furious Gaming.
That's right. Well, you know, there's almost no territory left for Furious Gaming. They're just destroying all of their buildings. Now they're starting to push towards this top keep. We do have all Furious Gaming here. They're trying to defend against it. They really don't want to lose another keep this early in the game.
They're continuing to come in here and crush down whatever's remaining of that wall. And I like this by compLexity, by the way. compLexity that packs their bags and leaves, deciding that they really can't do any more damage. And this is smart. This is safe. You want to know why? Because there's mercenary camps spawning over here on the right side of the map. So why not just go back there, take that, and this game will slowly, you know, be compLexity drowning Furious with just the waves of minions crossing the map and crushing their defenses.
That's right. Look at that mini-map in the bottom right of your screen. Everything is red. All the camps are being taken by compLexity. They have minion waves way far out. They have way more buildings. And all Furious Gaming can do is run back and forth and put out these fires.
Oh, nice catch there by Zeratols. Now watch again. This allows compLexity to set up another attack. And it looks like they weren't quite close enough to do it. So they go ahead and actually Furious Gaming is going to try to re-engage here. We might actually have a takedown here. Raynor goes down, but not before activating the Hyperion.
That's right, but right now you see Johanna taking lots of damage. Johanna with a nice condemn in there, still somehow alive. Johanna does end up going down. We have Sonya dealing the damage here as well, but Sonya falls. Arthas going up, getting another takedown, and Furious Gaming with just 2 heroes remaining.
They're on the run right now. Tyrael just trying to get away, and it looks like Tyrael does get the assassination down there by blinking. Just south of there. Now level 14 to level 17. Now, while that battle was going on and while that was exciting, you can never forget the story of the bottom lane here. It's continuing to be pushed in. Sometimes you have a long battle and it's a bit of a trade, right? Maybe there's one player remaining on each side, but when you do that, nobody's taking care of the bottom lane that's still being pushed towards the core. So that's a really big issue, and it's one that, unfortunately for Furious Gaming, they're going to have a very difficult time dealing with.
That's right. We do see Sonya going right in here, trying to take this out, but that top lane being pushed as well. Having to clear all this out means they can't even try to battle for that middle temple, which is just putting more damage on the middle keep. There's damage from all sides coming from compLexity.
And as we see over here in the center shrine, currently under the control here of compLexity, I don't know if your scheme's going to be able to do that much. One thing important to note as well is that this is a map where you don't have to actually physically run up and hit the core to win the game. You can actually fire at it from the temple that you're controlling.
That's right. That does make it pretty hard to get out there and hurt your opponents. It makes these Merc camps so much stronger so you can push them around. Looks like they do leave that one for the time being. Coming up here, just trying to get some ganks off. It looks like nice Void Prism going down. We do have Rainer with the Siberian as well. Sonya does fall.
And it looks like right now Furious Gaming up against the ropes right now. compLexity continuing to close in. We do have another takedown. There are only 2 heroes remaining right now for Furious Gaming, Jaina and Johanna. And maybe I spoke too soon. Now just Johanna here. And the core purely exposed to so much damage. I believe that's going to be GG here as compLexity wins game number 1 in our best of 3 series.
That is it. Well done by compLexity. GG taking down Furious Gaming in a one-sided match.
You know, it was started out with compLexity having a pretty impressive lead, and I'll tell you, they never lost that lead, but Furious Gaming was putting up a pretty good fight.
Yeah, there were definitely some times where they were making strong moves around, but compLexity just seemed on a completely different level, wouldn't you say, Jake?
I mean, seriously, in that game, the power of compLexity, the defensive play, the way they turned around those fights was something else. Every time they tried to dive in with all those warriors, they went for Wrath on Sonya instead of the heroic lead. So it wasn't the Eraser build, but it was still a heavy initiation composition. Zeratul shut it down every single time with Void Prison.
It really shows you how strong that ability is, that heroic ability actually is. You can lock in all the opposing heroes, or sometimes even your own teammates' heroes if you want to, but then that allows everybody to set up, coordinate, and initiate.
Well, this is why we see Zeratul banned out in the majority, I would say, of professional matches around the world.
Yeah, well, he's just such a strong hero,
Yeah, we can actually take a quick look at one of the engagements there that was attempted by Furious Gaming. You can see they have this crazy initiation with Tyrael. The Judgment goes in, and they're all charging forward, but then the Void Prison is used defensively. And from here, this gives compLexity time to regain their composure in the battle. They go for it. Arthas pops Army of the Dead to stay alive in the front line. Jaximus able to blink back on out, and they get the first takedown on Sonya. From here, the Condemn actually pulls Arthas further forward, which is exactly what he wants. He connects that Howling Blast. They push them down. They take out 3 heroes. Even the 4th goes down. Kobu falling there. Just phenomenal play. The power of VP denying that aggressive style attempted by Furious Gaming. Excellently done there in the first game of this match.
Yeah, they did a great job. I also like, from both teams that we saw that even though they took out a mercenary camp, they did not necessarily capture it. They actually occasionally saved that for a moment when a shrine might be activated, so that way, if they are going to go for that shrine, they can also activate the mercenary camp and have that push at a location where the shrine is not.
Well, that is definitely one of the maps where mercenary camps put on a lot of pressure. It's a giant map, and if you have a mercenary camp pushing across the map from where the team should be, it really puts them in a hard spot.
Yeah, it was just overall a fantastic game. I got to know, though, Jake, do you think there's any way that this could be not a 2-0? Because it was fun to watch, and both teams were good, but it was very one-sided.
I've got to be unfiltered here, and I just don't think so. Furious Gaming just looked like they got outclassed by compLexity, the rotations, the just complete map dominance in every regard. I'm thrilled by their play, but if they let Zeratul slip through again, there's no way they're going to defeat compLexity here today.
We'll be going to game number 2 soon, but first we're going to go to a short break, so stay tuned for more Heroes of the Storm action.
Ese es el momento más gracioso.
So the funniest moment was when I was playing in Copa America and I was trying to get away from a team fight in Cursed Hollow. I tried to jump over a barrier but didn't manage to do the jump. And after that, the internet took over from there and made a bunch of GIF animations out of that. I'm too good. I don't get those sort of troubles.
It is said that I hunt alone, wandering these bitter lands, far from civilization. But in truth, I hunt with family. One that I hold close. I protect them, and they protect me. I am Rexar, champion of the Horde, and I never hunt alone.
Is it cool if I do a southern accent or no? I'll try it the first time. If it don't work, I won't do it. I think what we were looking for... I kid. Well, I think my favorite hero is Falstad, because he's... Dude, I literally can't. I think what we were looking for was people that they had the dedication. I think my favorite hero is Falstad, because he's a chicken and he flies around.
You guys, welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm, America's Championship. We just watched a great game. compLexity was very convincing, but the question on all of our minds is, will Furious Gaming be able to bring it back?
Yeah, it is a big question. It looks like it might be a little bit tough. compLexity did dominate in game one, but anything can happen on the battlefields of Heroes of the Storm. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time to find out, and I'd love to hear what Nittt and Jake think might happen in game number 2.
This is going to be a lot of fun, guys. It's going to be tough to see Furious Gaming come back. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts, Tosis? This is a pretty one-sided series, at least so far.
Well, I gotta say, I liked their ideas going into that first game. They made a really cool composition that compLexity wouldn't have played against as much recently, but you know, their play just didn't quite back it up. compLexity was so on top of being all over the map, getting the mercenary camps at the right times, and just rotating into some great pickoffs.
Yeah, if they want to go for this aggressive blow-up style, they just cannot let something like Void Prison be picked up. Denies Zeratul, maybe even first pick Zagara to have that potential, right? If you can hit those big maws and then follow up with the big plays, that engagement, things can really work out for you. But VP, every single time, it was hitting 4 people on the enemy team, maybe even 5. And that just added up to be far too much damage when it came to the team fights.
You know, it's so strong because once you cast it and you capture them, I mean, everybody can just count down at the same time. Yeah. You end the Void Prism, and then everybody just piles on. Right. And, you know, a lot of the things which are area of effect damage, that just goes in there, and there's not much you can do. If you're in that small bubble, a lot of different abilities can hit multiple heroes at once.
I mean, by far the safest wombo setup in the entire game. So, I mean, the power of that hero, that's why he's such a common first ban here in the drafts. And I do suspect that we'll see that happen in game number 2.
Well, game number 2, we're actually going to be on Cursed Hollow. Is there anything else in particular other than banning Zeratul that you think that Furious Gaming should try, Jake?
Split Soak is quite valuable here on this battleground, considering how large it is and when you're fighting over those tributes. So we commonly see someone like Abathur here on this map. Sometimes we'll see Lost Vikings played, but even Falstad is somewhat viable here compared to the other battlegrounds.
Obviously, each of these battlegrounds is very different. Tosis, tell us a little bit about the one that we're going to see these guys playing on right now, Cursed Hollow?
Well, Cursed Hollow, we're going to see tributes spawn throughout the course of the game on many different points on the map. And you're going to go and try to collect them, but you have to actually channel it for a little bit so the opposing team can attack you and get you off of it. So we'll see a lot of scuffles around those tributes. But as you get 3, it curses your opponent, which makes all of their minions have 1 health and all of their buildings not shoot, which means you get a huge push going and a giant offensive advantage.
It's also interesting because especially early on with the death timer being very low, we do see fights where over the tribute, I should say, where there is one hero that's taken down, but the fight's still going on, and by then he's respawned. He's already back over there. But as it gets later and later in the game and the death timer is longer, it's very unforgiving. Also, if you're a very good team, you have to know, when do I just give up the tribute? A lesser team will always go for the tribute, even when they're at a disadvantage, but a good team, they're going to know when to make sacrifices.
It's a tough call to make, but it sounds like the draft for game number 2 is ready to roll. So let's hop on into it here in Cursed Hollow to see how Furious Gaming is going to adapt for this battleground.
All right, let's see. We are going to have the first ban coming up from Furious Gaming, and it's going to be on Johanna.
Johanna, obviously such a strong warrior. Taking Johanna out, not surprising there. She's always able to get in the front. Also, fights over the tribute are in these, it's obviously a forest, but it's shaped much more like very narrow little hallways. So Johanna obviously would condemn very strong there to bunch up and let everybody else deal damage.
Yeah, and I actually like this play a lot. So compLexity bans out Zeratul because that threat would be picked up by Furious Gaming, almost guaranteed, especially after that last game. And now Furious Gaming grabs Uther, largely considered to be the best support in the game ever since the change to cleanse. Divine Shield just gives whatever hero you want complete invulnerability and just free range on the battlefield. You can't stop him, you can't hurt him, he is unstoppable.
Yeah, we do see Uther swing the tide of a lot of battles with that Divine Shield. He puts out a lot of healing as well, and even has a little stun. I mean, this is a fantastic hero to pick up first.
And now over here for compLexity, we are having a Leoric pick. Leoric, one of the newer heroes in Heroes of the Storm, but absolutely one of the stronger heroes in Heroes of the Storm. The ability to ghost away, allows for escapes as well as really good engages. He's great for pushing into a lane, and obviously he can, vampire your health away from you, and that's something you got to factor in as well. So Leoric, easily one of the best heroes.
And you were talking about those early fights over the tribute where sometimes you fall in battle and you resurrect back in your base. Leoric doesn't have to do that. He turns into a ghost and he respawns exactly where he was standing.
Yeah.
So early game tribute fights, he is so incredibly powerful.
And now that both of you guys were talking about those early fights over tributes, one of our great early damage dealers, Jaina, is picked up as well with Leoric. She has been a top-tier pick the entire day here at the Americas Championship.
And a pick response there from Furious Gaming is going to go ahead and beat Arthas. Arthas, he's a very strong warrior. I think you could probably rank Leoric above him, maybe Johanna above him as well, but he's very good. He's, with the freeze ability, able to slow down a lot of his opponents, able to root them many times.
Yeah, especially when you consider drawn-out fights. Army of the Dead gives him so much more sustainability. And if that's not what you want to go for, Summon Cinder Ghosta is just great for pushing down lanes. And if level 10, you can get that snap-on aggression, push down a fort, get all that experience that can propel you forward ahead of your opponent. So it's really how they want to approach this battleground. But personally, I'm a big fan of Army of the Dead here on Cursed Hollow.
All right, well, with Arthas, they are going to grab one more pick before the next set of bans go up. And Nazebo. Oh, I just love Nazebo on this map.
Yeah, Nazebo, fantastic. Very fragile, but can deal a lot of damage, whether it's the abilities or the heroics. Which heroic do you think we're going to see here, Jake?
The cool thing is they just buffed Ravenous Spirit back to its former glory, and it's become much more viable. And since there are no real stuns that threaten it at this point, I like Ravenous a lot. The positioning, you can hide behind a wall fighting over the tribute, and the Ravenous will just really force them back. But Gargantuan, you can't count it out ever. It's the AI will just wander him into battle, wailing away, doing massive damage to your opponents. And it's just such a very powerful heroic. It's different than Water Elemental in the sense that you can't control it, but it's still a big, formidable threat.
Yeah, I don't think you could ever count it out either. So let's see what the ban responses are. Okay, so we have Tyrande ban over here for compLexity, and that's going to be, it's now going to be up to Furious Gaming to pick that next ban.
Yeah.
What do you think, Artosis?
Well, it's hard to say exactly what they're going to get rid of. They could go for a healer that they might think their opponents have, since they already have Uther. They could go for a damage dealer as well if they think they're going to go for one of those. But it is actually going to be Abathur. And Jake, you were talking about how Abathur can be a great pick on this big map.
You throw him on a bruiser like Arthas, who can slow you down and root you with the Howling Blast, and it becomes quite scary, but Rexar has been picked up
We got Rexar in this game, our newest hero. This is going to be a lot of fun for everybody, as you know, we're all still learning this game. This game is still obviously pumping out more and more heroes. So Rexar now here for compLexity. They're going to show us what he's all about.
Well, I'm very excited to see Misha go into battle here. I don't know why we call this hero Rexar. It's Misha that's doing all the heavy lifting.
You know, I love this pickup, though, because Rexar is classified as a warrior, but he's a ranged warrior, so he's incredibly unique in that regard. And you put him with someone like Leoric in that big front line, and suddenly Misha plus Leoric, they're just ruining your life. They're stunning you, they're slowing you, and they're just applying a lot of damage and pressure. And then Rexar has the slows, he has the lane clear, such a unique, powerful hero.
I'm very curious to see how Furious Gaming is going to respond here. But before I talk about that, we do have a Raynor pick here for compLexity.
Well, I got to say, Trummel was just insane with Raynor last time. He was on point, fantastic micro, hitting those skill shots, and just dealing out massive amounts of damage. So I'm glad to see him on Raynor again.
Yeah, he's a really powerful hero, especially paired with Rexar. I mean, the control those two have together, the skill shots to knock people away. Rexar's quite squishy in himself, right? It's Misha that is the warrior, so a cool synergy will exist with those two, and I'm excited to see what they round out their roster with, but Furious Gaming, they've got 2 more picks.
All right, let's see what they're going to go for. What are you guessing here? Are we going to see some range damage? Could we see a second tank, a second warrior as well, since Arthas is the one they chose first?
Ooh, well,
Kel'Thas.
Yeah, that's a strong pickup for sure. And at this point, I would like to see a warrior paired with this. You want a big front line to protect the potential of a Ravenous Spirit and Kel'Thas in the back. Double warrior paired with Uther, you have this rock-solid composition in the front, and they go for a new Barak. He has the dive, and he has the stuns and peel for these back assassins.
All right, great to see a Nubarak. Still one of the best warriors in the game, as you said, with that peel, with those stuns. Really can help to control a battle.
And we're still waiting for that final pick here from compLexity so that we know what the total makeup of all the heroes are going to be. And it's going to be a Malfurion pick.
Nice.
It's a great pick there.
Yeah.
Obviously a very solid support.
You talk about long drawn-out battles here on Cursed Hollow. Tranquility with double warrior is going to make it very difficult to eliminate this team. And then if Raynor does spec with Give Me More at level 1, he's going to have that big self-heal. So as soon as he gets low, he's going to have the big self-heal on himself. The Tranquility from Malfurion is just going to top him off even further. And the team is going to be very hard to even take out a single hero on that squad.
Artosis, do you think Furious Gaming has a better shot this time around?
Look, I mean, they have some really strong heroes. They have Uther, who is the absolute best support considered by almost every pro team. You know, they have a Nubarak and Arthas, 2 warriors that deal lots of damage, and we've seen already today the strength of Ravenous Spirit on Nazeebo. So if they can get that off for its full duration, you know, these team fights could go towards them.
With Howling Blast, Hammer of Justice, Zombie Wall, and Gravity Lapse, they have so much lockdown. I like their chances far more here on the second game.
Well, it would be fantastic if it was not a 2-0. I'm wondering, you know, with compLexity, the amount of experience they have, I'm wondering if they can be stopped. You guys having fun out there? This is very exciting, huge moment in esports history, and especially for Heroes of the Storm history. You know, this game, it's very young, especially as an esport, but it's also developing very quickly.
Yeah, I just want to say it's such an honor to be here on this stage. The crowd has been phenomenal this entire day, and being here casting with you guys, I used to nerd out about you guys watching StarCraft, so it's quite the honor.
Thanks, buddy. Well, it's really fun to be down here. You know, for those of you guys who don't know who we are, we you know, we're Tastosis, but we primarily have casted StarCraft in the past. But this is really fun to be down here with a new game. And to be learning it and to be experiencing it with you guys.
That's right. It is a fantastic game. Definitely give it a try if you haven't yet. I'm sure we have a lot of people that just kind of wandered in to check it out, came with some friends or whatever. But Heroes of the Storm, it's a free game and a really fun game. One of my favorites.
And it looks like we're going to be going and starting our match. So I want you guys to make some noise for game number 2, Furious Gaming against compLexity.
All right, here we go, guys. On the left-hand side of the map, in the blue, it's Furious Gaming with Kobu on Uther, Anaxandros on a Nubarak, Nittt on Kel'Thas, Guelo on Nazeebo, and Bishop on Arthas. And their opponents on the right side of the map. In the red, it's compLexity with Jaximus on Rexar, Hans on Jaina, Caterpillar on Leoric, Trummel once again on Raynor, and Blanks on Malfurion. All right, looks like we have a little bit of a bush party here. Rexar and Jaina waiting, seeing if anyone wants to come by so that they can have a little dance with them. But we have all of Furious Gaming here in the center, so they're going to push that down very, very quickly. But they don't have anyone in the top or bottom lanes.
Yeah, and if they don't have anybody in the top or bottom lanes, they're not going to be getting as much experience, and that's pretty critical early on. Oh no, Nazeebo early on taking so much damage. Nazeebo narrowly escapes her with an absolutely beautiful zombie wall.
That's right. That was a fantastic donut around his chasers, keeping them in place. But he did miss some experience down there in that bottom lane, so that still worked out very well for compLexity.
You know, whether it's early game or late game, you always want to be very careful with Nazeebo. Oftentimes, if you're all in a big fight together, the opposing team will just focus in on Nazeebo because he is so squishy, he can die so fast.
That's right. Well, you know, Nazeebo definitely will gain power throughout the game. A very strong character nowadays, but right now we do have a little fight. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Absolutely awesome by Bishop.
That is a record for me with how many rooted heroes I've seen with just one ability. That was incredible. Ford locked down there.
Well, right now we do have some rotations coming down from compLexity, going into this mid lane, clearing it up. In the meantime, nice dodge there by Nittt on Kael'thas, getting away from that Drain Hope.
And for the time being, it's just going to be a race to get to level 10 with a few engagements in between. You can see level 2 to level 3. Pretty soon here, we are going to have the first tribute spawn. So you want to be very careful to make sure the whole team is alive, you know, in position and ready to rotate to that tribute if they decide it is a valuable move to do.
That's right. Well, right now we have compLexity once again coming up, trying to get Kael'thas, and he does go down, taking control of this top lane for the time being.
Looks like that tower just got controlled over there. Arthas actually great to solo on a lot of the mercenaries early on. Is going to go ahead and take down these two siege giants. And this is actually a great way to start out this game. But he's got to be careful because when you're that, you know, early on in level, you're going to be very, very low on HP.
That's right. He has to be careful about this. We do have Kael'thas coming up to help him, but you know what? Getting these siege giants early on can be fantastic. You know, you have them pushing a lane. When that first tribute pops up, and your opponents have a hard decision to make.
Now, one thing to note is because of tribute spawning at the top here, the siege giant push is not as strong as, let's say, if the tribute was spawning at the bottom, for instance, because then it'd be too many different places on the map to try to cover.
Well, right now we do have Furious Gaming coming down. compLexity waiting for them, blowing up Kael'thas in a matter of seconds. Looks like they're going to back up and try to go for this tribute, and I don't think Furious Gaming can stop them.
Yeah, I don't believe there's anything Furious Gaming can really do to contest that. I think it was smart that they did opt to back up. I think the lesser team would have dove in and then ended up losing everything. So even though Furious Gaming didn't get the tribute, I would say still nice job, the right play.
Indeed, definitely smart. You got to be careful about which tributes you go after, like you were talking about before, Tasteless. A smart team will know which tributes to give up, which ones to fight over. But that was only the first. It's not the biggest deal. You need 3 to get the effects out of those tributes.
And now we have the Bruiser camp over here on the upper right being grabbed here by compLexity as they are now passing into level 7 right now. We will have another tribute spawning here shortly. Arthas, as I was saying earlier, he's just fantastic when it comes to taking out mercenary camps early on. You know, the ability to hit all the minions around him and, of course, just soak up a lot of damage too.
Well, right now, both teams going to have those bruisers hitting the center, so they're probably going to want to clear that up before the first tribute comes. But something important to mention, compLexity at level 7, so they have a slight lead still and 1 talent extra until Furious hits that next level.
All right, there is the tribute spawning here now. And it doesn't look, no, excuse me, they are, Furious Gaming is rotating up here and to try to get this. Let's see if they actually can get it. We have Nazeebo up here, but obviously you can't dive in with Nazeebo. And it looks like, you know what, just in the nick of time, they're just going to get it.
Wow, great zoning right there, I definitely have to say. Misha taking a lot of damage, is going to retreat out of here, but that was really well done by compLexity, pushing Furious Gaming back and taking that second tribute.
Yeah, that was a moment where it's like, you know, you snooze, you lose. You got to be at the tribute over there. Even if you can't take it before your opponent, if you can at least hit them, it stops that whole process of acquiring it. They have to start from the very beginning.
Well, look at this. It looks like they may have caught Raynor here. Raynor trying to get out Trummel running, but it looks like they do gank him, and down he goes.
Very nicely done there by Furious Gaming. They definitely needed something, and maybe that will be the play that'll help them get back onto their feet. However, compLexity has already taken another Siege Giant camp, and that's going to be pushing the southern lane.
And let's not forget, they're almost to level 10, whereas Furious is just almost to level 9. So if they do get that level 10 and the next tribute comes up, there's no way Furious can stop them from getting it.
Okay. Third tribute now spawning. Let's keep in mind, compLexity's already taken 2 tributes, and even more importantly is they're about to hit level 10. So if they get the third tribute, and while being at level 10, I mean, there's just so little Furious Gaming can actually do to stop this. It's going to be huge.
I think that they're just going to have to eat this curse, Tasteless. They're going to have to let them get it and defend as best they can, try to keep all their forts up, but here we go. Furious Gaming has been cursed, and immediately compLexity goes for the throat.
And now they're going to be pushing in through the mid lane. This will be lasting for the next 60 seconds, and I don't believe there's any way they can keep this fort alive. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if with this level advantage, we might even see compLexity push into and take out a second fort.
That's right. This first fort looks like it will be falling down no matter what. They've already picked off a Nubarok. Down at the bottom, we see Trummel on his own as Raynor pushing this fort, dealing a lot of damage.
And you can see now Nazebo going to go ahead and drive out Raynor. There will be a rotation over here into the top lane. Still about 25 seconds remaining. Oh, I love this. Are they going to actually go for the boss? They are. And this is smart as the, you know, with only 20 seconds remaining, they can't do anywhere near as much damage. But taking out the boss while keeping Furious Gaming on the defense will just give compLexity a further advantage.
Oh, it's a great move with Trummel in the middle of the map, still poking, still prodding, keeping the enemy team on their back feet. This is fantastic. That is a nice, strong, early boss that's going to put a lot of pressure on that top lane.
And what's so great about this is now they can even go ahead and rotate down to the bottom. One thing to keep in mind is that occasionally, and it's definitely not always, but occasionally when one boss gets taken out because the other team has to defend from that boss, that gives the opportunity then for that team that owns the first boss to then go capture the second.
Well, speak of the devil, Tasteless, it looks like they're down here taking their opponent's boss while the Team Furious Gaming clearing the top boss. Some great rotations coming out of compLexity.
And that boss is going to be acquired. I gotta say, Furious Gaming just in very bad shape this game. They are going to stop the boss, but at the same second that they take the boss out, another one is now going to be pushing into the southern lane.
Look at this. They even want to clear this fort out so the boss can go even further, and they will get that done in a matter of seconds, continuing to push through. So much pressure on Furious Gaming, who is now down 2 levels.
Right now, Furious Gaming just trying to get into a defensive position. That's the one small thing they do have going for them is the 2 Siege Giants pushing there at the top, although I think that's small potatoes compared to what compLexity has going down here at the bottom.
That's right. We do see Hyperion coming up, putting a lot of damage onto these buildings and heroes as well. They're going to be able to push down these gates so quickly, but we should see them rotating away now.
And as they rotate away, look at this. Some might say this is greedy, but I think they can probably pull it off. They're just going to nab the Bruiser camp right before Furious Gaming can get in there, and they get it just in time. Beautiful play.
Fantastically done there by Trummel, even using his skill shot there, pushing back the enemy team so they didn't have any chance to interrupt the capturing of this Bruiser camp. So compLexity, look at this. Once again, like in game 1, if you look at the mini-map in the bottom right, everything is turning red, slowly but surely.
We are going to go ahead and take out the Siege Giants over here. Meanwhile, the Bruiser camp to the bottom right of this is being captured. And look at that just before the tribute actually spawns. I got a question if Furious Gaming should even try to get this tribute with the, you know, the lead that compLexity has. But then again, as I say that, I mean, Furious Gaming has to do something to win because they have basically nothing going for them right now.
Yeah, they really don't. But you know what? They were at 0 of 3 tributes to get that curse, so I think it's smart. Give that up. They're coming down here trying to get some experience by killing off some of these buildings because they need to be at least on the same talent tier on 13 before they fight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Otherwise, it's just an uneven playing field there. Also, if you look at just the amount of blue that's on the mini-map, and that would be Furious Gaming's territory, this whole map is a big, dark, scary place. Right now, compLexity can continue to move through the forests, through the bushes, pretty much uncontested, and surprise Furious Gaming at any moment if they decide to.
Very true, and that's why Furious Gaming is staying back near their walls. They're just going to clean up all these mercenary camps that compLexity took and do their best to catch up on levels so that they can actually fight at some point here. But compLexity is just so on top of everything. Look at this, even getting the last mercenary camp that's up on their side of the map.
You know, this is a great game where you could see one team winning by simply accomplishing all the map objectives. Whenever they get to one objective, they immediately just run and take the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Speaking of objectives, a tribute is now spawning. This will be the 5th tribute in the game, and possibly the 5th tribute also acquired here by compLexity.
It does really look that way. Right now, Furious Gaming is out of position. They are 13 versus 15, so maybe they can get a fight done, but compLexity sneaking up on that very important level 16 for another Billy. It looks like we do have Syndrosa coming in, trying to delay this tribute.
As they're getting to close in, we see the zombie wall be put down. We have Leork over here in the front, soaking up so much damage, but it does look like he's gonna be able to ghost around, just barely escaping. Furious Gaming, 4 heroes down, only a Nubaron, and I think they're gonna be able to catch him too, at the same time collecting the second tribute. Furious Gaming just in a world of hurt.
That is 5 heroes down right there. That is a clean team wipe. So that means that compLexity gonna push forward, go through this middle gate. In the meantime, they do have mercenaries down in the bottom lane. They're gonna go for a keep.
Okay, now going and cracking open the center area. The keep will be going down, it does look like. We have respawns right now for Furious Gaming as they're scrambling to try to come over here and save whatever remains of their base, but unfortunately the keep will not be part of that story.
Oh man, that's 2 keeps falling. Just a single keep left over for Furious Gaming. They're down 4 levels as well. This is getting just out of hand.
Literally, this boss crawls out of the ground, and 2 seconds later, he's in fight. As they're going to go and try to take out the top boss. And remember, the timer is the same there for the bottom. So once they take out this top boss, there's going to be a spawn there for the bottom boss as well. So this could be 2 bosses and possibly a 3rd tribute captured here for Team compLexity.
Hey, yeah, why not? On your way to your 4th boss of the game, swing by and get your 2nd curse of the game. Seems pretty good for compLexity, doesn't it?
Yep, the curse is just now spawned, and the boss will be spawning at the bottom shortly thereafter. Meanwhile, I don't believe Furious Gaming can really get in here and try to contest this, but again, they don't really have many more options.
I guess they decided, hey, let's just fight right now. Some good moves going down. We have Kael'thas throwing his Phoenix in the middle there. A big swing there by Leork. He does get lifted up by Kael'thas, but continuing to pummel into the back line.
They're continuing to pursue forward. We do see Nazebo go down. Only 2 more heroes remaining. Leork still in hot pursuit right now, as Kael'thas actually making a right-hand turn over here and actually going into the bush, just trying to buy time. This may be an all-kill right now, as there's 1 more hero remaining. In a lot of trouble is Uther. He is eliminated.
Oh, man. Now they're going to just go. This boss in the top lane, going to be able to take down the keep. They're going for their opponent's boss. There's still a tribute for a curse. Everything in the favor of compLexity. They may be able to finish the game momentarily.
And the boss does go down. And I mean, at this point in time, it's going to be a flood of every possible minion controlled here by compLexity. The curse has been activated. Furious Gaming could not be in a weaker position. It would take a miracle to recover and come back as the remaining 5 heroes here for compLexity begin to close in. There's just not much Furious Gaming can do.
Well, this should be the last battle of the game. We do have Divine Shield going down to Nubarak. He is diving in once again. Syndrosa goes out from Arthas. They put a lot of damage on Misha, but Misha still alive. Misha finally does fall. In the meantime, we do have Coelho, and he falls as well.
And that's another mass takedown here as they focus down the core. That will be the end of this series. GG. Game number 2, as well as this entire series, will be going, not surprisingly, to compLexity.
Just fantastic play from compLexity this game. They are looking like they're on fire. They are looking like they're ready to win this tournament, Jake.
What else can you say about that matchup? 6 tributes to 0. They picked up 3 bosses throughout the game, dominated the mercenary camps, and they only had 1 death on their side of the team. Honestly, that's about as close to a perfect game as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, they basically won in every possible way.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of games we have, there is a back and forth, right? Maybe they were winning before level 10. And then, you know, they threw or something like that, or maybe, you know, the lanes are pushed in, but hey, the other team managed to get the core when there was a mass team kill. That last game was not the case. I mean, literally compLexity did everything humanly possible to maintain a lead and keep it.
And you know, I was talking to compLexity a lot before this event started, and they were talking about the power of Rexar and how they've been practicing him so much. Their Rexar play, I think it probably threw Furious off a little bit because of how strong it looked. Paired with another warrior, that front line was indestructible. They just had the zoning, they had the control every time they're fighting over those tributes.
You know, I gotta say, I think that we've been talking a lot about Cloud9 and Tempo Storm here, but both of them have to be watching what compLexity just did in this match. And you're getting a little bit scared. There's only 2 spots for BlizzCon at this tournament.
You know, I agree with you wholeheartedly because compLexity they've been training incredibly hard for this tournament because this is it. This is the only chance they have to qualify for the World Championships at BlizzCon, and that's really what everything comes down to at the end of it. Sure, the prize pool here, it's nice, but BlizzCon is where it all matters. They want that trophy.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about this is, although we're going to be crowning a champion here by tomorrow evening, the story's not done for Heroes of the Storm on a global level. BlizzCon, as fantastic as this tournament is, you still want to get to BlizzCon. Maybe you don't win it here, but you still have another opportunity to compete on the global level out there.
And honestly, a lot of the other commentators would actually say that compLexity is favored over Tempo Storm, and that might sound crazy to the audience here, but they look that good right now.
Yeah, that was definitely a scary match. But let's talk about Furious Gaming for a moment here, because these guys are big underdogs coming in this tournament. What do they need to do to have a better showing here? Can they pick up some matches in this tournament?
They certainly have the potential to do so, right? I mean, more than capable of doing it. And actually, I think Game 2, in a lot of ways, it looked better. Their initiations were nice, but they just have to commit to it. Communication seemed like it might have been a little bit lacking. 2 heroes would move forward, and the rest of the team might not be following up in that snap call. They need one person just calling the shots and saying, we all need to go as one. They're not moving as much as a unit as they could be.
Well, guys, we are going to go to a short break, but we're not done here today. We got more Heroes of the Storm action coming up soon. So stay tuned.
Our team's greatest strength is that we are able to play a very diverse playstyle, and we are able to switch playstyles quite readily and on the spot.
In an aggressive C region where chaos reigns, we are forced to learn how to play aggressively.
We are the best team that was able to adapt to it, and that's why we are here today. I feel the biggest setback is that we lack the exposure and the sponsorship for the Southeast Asia region. We are full-time university students and people serving in the national service compared to the Americans who play full-time. Despite all this, we still manage to find time to be very committed to the game. I think our team has the ability to stay cool-headed because most of us have been competitive gamers for quite a while. So we have that ability to stay calm even in dire situations.